this kinky shit. I'd like to try with you. I got some kinky shit. I'd like to try with you. I got some kinky shit.
Welcome to Demystifying Gay Porn. My name is Ike Grande, and if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped to get off. And I'm sure if you've been on the internet for the past, how long has it been?
Oh, God, I would say about almost 6-7 years now.
All right, so if you've been on the internet for the past 6-7 years, you've probably met my guest this week. Please help me welcome
King Dwarf.
King Dwarf.
Yes.
There we go. How the hell are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming out. I mean, this is not a hard travel for both of us.
No, Jersey boys. That's right.
We're
Jersey
both Jersey
boys.
natives at the moment, right?
Yep.
But you are a content creator. You are a future porn star.
Future porn star, yeah.
You already are. You already have.
Yeah.
You have the street cred.
Yeah, I mean, 320,000 followers. It's insane. I think I did a very grassroots type campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys, the ones who do follow me, remember me back on Cam 4. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't even know.
Camp 4 is still out there.
Cam 4 is still out there. Okay. Chatterbait was the big one. That was the one I really took off on. And that was just like, I was like, okay, let me see if I could do this. I was going through like a struggle with my confidence and my like self-esteem. And I was going to like, an all boys school that was like filled with like, just guys and their girls and bros. And I was like, listen, I'm like in love with all of you, but then I want to like punch all of you in the face. So let me like see if actually somebody's attracted to me. So let me go to the internet. So I did that. And like, honestly, it took off. I would have like almost 1,000, 2,000 viewers.
While you were on.
Yeah. And it was literally insane. I was like the top male cam. And people were like, oh my God, like they were losing their minds. And I think it was probably like the first time in a while, like a dwarf actually like went live on Chatterbait.
Yeah.
So, because I've never seen any other dwarf performers. I think there might have been female ones, but never like a male one. That took off. And then I was like, what do I do next? Okay, so let me do Tumblr. And Tumblr was like great because I would just be like, all right, I'll post a nude here, post a nude there. And then that took off. I think right before they banned the adult content, I was up to 100,000 followers. And then that's when I was like in a crisis because I was like, what do I do now that they're banning this? Where do I go? Mm-hmm. And then my fans were just like, oh, why don't you go to Twitter? And I was like, all right, I'll go to Twitter and we'll see how that pans out. And hopefully nothing happens. I don't get like suspended or whatever. So I went to Twitter and then that immediately took off because people were just ripping my old stuff that was on everywhere else and putting it on Twitter. And then I was coming out with new content. And then I blew up on there. And then I've been on Twitter and then made an OnlyFans ever since.
Were you on Twitter beforehand as well? Like, was it minimal interaction that you had?
Minimal
or
on Twitter. I really didn't take Twitter serious as a platform because Tumblr was kicking, and I think the notes and I really loved how easy it was to, like, the notes would blow up as it would go viral on Tumblr, so easily. But Twitter's like that with the retweets. So
you grew up in New York. You're a New York native.
Yes, Bronx represent. Yeah.
And then you transplanted to New Jersey.
Yes, I did. I grew up in the Bronx. I was born and raised in Mott Haven. Then around 10, we left the Bronx, my family, and then I moved to Elizabeth in Jersey, and that was not bad because again, I was still like a stone throw away from the city. And then I lived there up until about 3 years ago. And then I actually bought a house finally. Once like the mass exodus out of New York was happening, I was like, all right. I was like, let's buy a house. Like I'm going to stay in Jersey and let's just buy a house because everyone's leaving New York. So there's no point. I really wanted to get back into the city and like live with either a roommate or something, but then I thought the best thing, I was like, let me just buy my house. I'm gonna have a backyard.
Yes, exactly. I understand the appeal of living in New York, but and I've said this before, but you really have to be loaded to live in New York comfortably. Yes. Like here you can have a backyard. Like I was working on the backyard all weekend.
You don't know how many jokes I get. Like I'll go to the city and like I'll hang out with my crew and they'll be like, yeah, you know, like it's tough. You live in Jersey and all. And I'm like, but I have a backyard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't pay $3,000 to live in a box.
Yeah. Not only that, where did you come from? Kentucky.
Exactly.
Okay, so you didn't live in New York.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the reasons why your mother moved you guys out to New Jersey was
we were walking one day, and I actually remember this. I was about like 8 years old, 9 years old, and I was walking with my mom, and then on the side alleyway, we actually saw like a dead body, barely covered, and then that's when my mother was like, grabbed my hand, and she was like, "We're getting the fuck out of here." Yeah,
that's a very traumatic experience. I would say.
Like, wow, my first dead body, Mom! Yay!
So you came out here. You went to an all boys high school.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what was it like with these guys? I know going to an all boys high school, first and foremost, they're, they're gayer than like the straightest guys that are the gays. They're so gay when it comes to other guys.
I mean, the all boys private schools are really the gayest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people were like, "You're like living the fucking ultimate porn fantasy," and I was like, "Not really," but I was like, honestly, it was a lot of bullying.
Okay.
It was a lot of harassment. It was a lot of, after all the bullying, I was smart and I was like, I'm going to make friends with the fucking like seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And then no one's going to fuck with me. So like, I would like, before you know it, I would like sit at the senior table and like lunch. And then like my bullies would like see that and he'd be like, oh, he moved on up.
Oh yeah.
And like, honestly, like I'd be in the locker room and like, it was just so homoerotic every time. That I could say was truly like a porn set. It was just like you like getting the glances and the whispers, and then they're like seeing my like dick, and they're like, "Holy shit!" And and then I'm the one that's like nervous and like keeping like not looking anywhere because then they're gonna call me a faggot and don't look, and so. But then they saw me, and it was like okay to make jokes about me and like my dick size. So I was like, okay, so you guys are just talking about a dwarf's dick. All right, this is totally straight. I get it. And then I actually made friends that way, and it was actually really funny because once they found out I was packing, like it spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
And then everyone wanted to be my friend. But before all that, it was not easy at all. There was a lot of bullying, and I think it was actually really. I finally found myself when I actually had a set of friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was a small group of friends that I did. It was kind of like my group that got me through it.
Was it like I know they can be brutal?
It was brutal.
Yeah.
There was some dark times. I was very self-conscious about my appearance back then. It was funny because I was just actually looking at photos yesterday at my parents' house, and I sent my boyfriend Joel one, and it was real. I was really, really cute. I was like young, but then I had like came across like the awkward like the high school photos, and I was just like, oh, he looks so sad there. I felt like it was that RuPaul moment where like, what would you say to like 5-year-old Johnny, And I was like, that. I couldn't even look at it because the memories just came flooding back. And but yeah, it was brutal. I kind of talk about it with certain people. It was rough. I actually even went to therapy for it, and they were like, "Listen," I was actually talking to my therapist, and he was like, "Listen, if you're gay and a dwarf, and you got this far in life, and you didn't put a bullet in your head, you are killing it, baby."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, it was a tough road. It was a tough road."
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think the friends that I did make, the ones because there were gay guys in there, we kind of got each other through it because it was dark. It was really dark being a dwarf in an all boys school. Yeah.
How soon after high school did you start jumping on cams?
I think I was like freshly 18. I jumped on because I was really like in a rut. I was like, my mental health was like, am I attractive? Like, am I going to find somebody? And then at that time I was like still going through the motions. Like I guess if you wanted to put a label on it, I would say I was bi. Like I was like, all right, like if I'm, let me dive into the, with the chicks and see what happens with that. And so that happened. I'm not a gold star gay, unfortunately.
You have to know first,
Yes,
you have to try.
So and then I was messing around with that after high school. And then I had like a girlfriend for a very, very limited time. That was purely experimental. Thank you, Krista. I can at least put it out there. Yeah, she definitely solidified in stone that I was gay. But then I jumped on and let me go on and see if I'm actually attractive. I was like, listen, I got told by in the locker room that I fucking have a huge fucking dick. Let's see what the internet has to say. So, and then before you know it, it was just me in my bedroom. It couldn't get more amateur than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was just in my bedroom and just jerking off, and people would go crazy. I mean, I have viral clips still that come up when I'm watching porn, and I laugh. I'm like, oh, that's me in my bedroom.
You started doing Cam, right? Cam 4, you said?
Cam 4 and Chatterbait.
And Chatterbait.
Yes. It was very grassroots.
Very grassroots,
Yeah.
but were there haters already at that point?
Some would come into my room and try to crack jokes,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, there was the overwhelming, like, this is crazy. You are so hot. You are so, like, and to hear that when you don't even believe in those things was so refreshing, especially after the bullying and the torture I had to deal with. I was like, I'm not hot. Stop, guys. I'm like, stop. You're just saying this to blow smoke up. I was like, stop. And they're like, no, like, and the tips were insane. And I was like, okay, this is a real thing. And then, of course, like, this did wonders for my confidence. I was like, all right, guys, let's make this like a weekly thing or like twice a week. And I mean, haters would come in, but I would have moderators. And I think once in a while we'd have a situation, but it was nothing crazy.
Okay.
I would like read the comments once they would rip my show from the site to like actual like the Pornhubs and everything like that. And like, they were just like, how can I get in touch with this man? This man's dick is like even bigger than the size on a normal man. Like, the comments were insane. Like, I wish I could read them to you because I still pop in and I find it hilarious. They're like, how can I get in touch with this man before like I blew up?
Yeah.
And it was just so great. Like, it was so great. And then that's when I had the confidence to take it a step further. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take nudes. All right, I'm going to like really take this seriously because this was like my out. This is where I can actually be myself, is the internet, and be accepted for it.
Hold on, let's wait for that to pass by.
This is the real Jersey experience, guys.
The real Jersey experience. In New York, you hear like sirens and stuff.
Yeah. We're at a motel off the side of a highway.
Yes, we are. There's actually an XXX place right across the street from here.
Oh, yes.
And
that's the strip club.
That's
the strip club,
But
girl.
it used to be called Coliseum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a gay bar back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. I used to come.
Jersey
Oh,
history.
yeah. I used to be
Wow.
here. Yeah, I got some Jersey history.
Yeah. I know there's an adult bookstore that I frequented down the road.
Really?
Yes.
Did they have a glory hole or a peephole or anything like that?
Well, unfortunately, I was never able to reach it. So, I would just sneak in there, and then somebody would follow me in the big booth, and
that stuff would happen.
That was my foray into adult bookstores. My friend would go to them all the time, and he was like, "Do you want to just come with me?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So yeah, that was great.
Okay, so you were doing Cam 4, you were doing Chatterbait, then you moved into Tumblr.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Tumblr was great because I think so many content creators got their start on Tumblr.
Really?
I run into people and I'm just like, you know, remember the old days, like the good old days on Tumblr, and then people like, it's so amazing how many people actually their first sighting of me was Tumblr, because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought it was like this niche, like if you knew, you knew type of thing, you know. But they were like, you were being reblogged everywhere on straight blogs, on gay blogs, everywhere. You were everywhere, and I was like, really? And so I think I was just doing my thing. It was casual, like I would just kind of post a nude every now and then when I wanted to, and it took off. And then people were like, and then I would post a video. It would be like a simple like jerk off video, a little nut video, and people just wanted more and more. And they were like, "We want to see you with somebody, like, you know, whether a guy or girl, we don't care." And they were just hungry for content. And I was like, "Okay, like, what am I doing? Like, what do I do next?" And it was really only me. Like, I didn't have any. Like, now I have like, you know, friends of mine, and I have Joel, and I have like other people that I can turn to in the industry. Before I was like, and then I was just like this like kid in my 20s. I'm like, what do I do now?
It's very I'm not going to say lonely, but there's moments of solitude when it comes to that.
That is so true. And I was just like, I need like guidance. Once they banned adult content, which is a
On
shame.
Tumblr, yeah, they really shit the bed.
Now they're like struggling, like Verizon bought them or something or whatever. Yeah. So then I was like, you know what, guys, just follow me to Twitter. And so I went to Twitter, exploded on Twitter because I just posted a lot of my content that I had on my Tumblr. And then I was posting new stuff. And then so that took off. And then that's when I met people from the industry, people that were like, they're like, dude, you're like the hottest thing right now since sliced bread. Like, can I film with you? And automatically it was under this guise of them wanting to top me. And that was the thing, because I felt like it was the dwarf thing. They were like, oh, we're going to make him a big old bottom on cam. I was like, no. I wanted my image out of the gate to just be like, to be a top. I was like, I want a top. I said, I want to, definitely find bottoms that would be willing to film and, and see what happens. See what happens. Like, let me not do the OnlyFans thing just yet. Let me just kind of like test the waters and see what the feedback is on when I actually film with somebody else. If I remember, one of my first videos was just me getting head in the backseat of my car outside of my apartment building. That was like a quick like clip. And then that took off. And then the major one that I think still is I actually filmed it not too far away from here. It was me topping a guy in like a sleazy little motel like this. Like, I met him at the bookstore and he recognized me from the internet and he was like, dude, I'm like one of your biggest fans. Can I get a motel like tonight and you just fuck me? And I was like, sure, if I could record it, no problem. And he was like, sure, you have like my permission.
Awesome.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's do this. And I was like horny just from like, it's going to be like a sleazy motel.
Yeah,
Like,
the whole interaction.
I have my best friend drop me off. He's outside, he's like my bodyguard, I call him. He's like, anything goes wrong, you just press H. I'm going to bust down that door. And then so I go in, meet him. We like film. It was a jungle theme. It was like hilarious. Like,
I'm trying to think of what hotel
the
that is.
rooms had, I think it was the Galleria.
Different themes?
The Galleria.
Okay.
Further down. Yeah. So it was like the honeymoon. He didn't get the honeymoon. He had the mirrors on the ceiling, which would have been really great for content. But he got like the forest one, which was a pain in the ass with lighting. But still, that took off because I got him like on the floor. He was 6'3", and it's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah, but you're all the same size when you're lying down.
Exactly. I get on my tippy toes, and it's like, so, and it was so hot, and that blew up. And then they were like, dude, you really need an OnlyFans. Like, that's all I kept getting was like, and then my best friend was like, you need to get paid for this. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So shout out to my best friend, Richie, because he literally was like, you need to start getting paid for this. Let me put that on OnlyFans and let's see how it does. I was like, let me make a little subscription. OnlyFans blew up. And then I was like, okay, now I'm making like serious money and I'm making everything. It's like I'm not paying anybody. I'm not, I was like, I'm doing all the camera work on my iPhone. I was like, my iPhone is taking amazing video. So it was like very Bernie Sanders, like grassroots, like I'm doing this all myself,
Small donations of $30
Exactly.
or what, like Bernie
And I was
Sanders.
getting tipped. I was like, if you guys want to help me out with the content, like, and it was just, it took off. And I'm like, still to this day, I'm in awe. And people tell me, they're like, dude, I got into it because of you. Because I seen somebody like
awesome.
you doing this. And that touched me so much. I was like, wow.
How do you, because I feel like all of porn is exploitation, in my opinion.
Yes.
You had mentioned that they wanted to make you a big old bottom.
They did.
Or that they immediately just think that you're a bottom, right?
Yes. My DMs were so funny because before I made my bottoming debut with Joel, I had DMs. I wish I could show you my inbox on the daily, like from the big content creators. Once they knew I was like the big fish, like I was like, this was the dwarf that's come onto the scene who he had 50K. Now he has 100K. And now he has like everyone wanted to film with me. Porn stars, content creators. And then they were like, so you're going to bottom for me, right? And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to top you. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable with bottoming on camera right now. I was like, this is my brand. I saw other dwarves, like other male dwarves out there. They're out there in the international sector and they're just bottoming. And I said, I kind of want to have my image and brand be more crafted. And I was like, we'll get to that, but it's going to be a certain special someone. Because previously when I did have boyfriends, I kept the bottoming for a relationship.
Yeah,
you know?
it's special.
Yeah. When I finally did it recently with Joel, like my DMs were insane. They were like, "Oh, you gave it up to Joel and not me. What's going on? Like, that's like the biggest diss. Like, I thought we were friends."
Yeah, well,
like I was getting backlash, and then I was also getting like, then I had like my fan, and they were like, "Good for you," because you could see the chemistry.
Yeah, no, it's got to be right.
You know?
It's got to be perfect.
It wasn't just gonna be like, "Okay, meet me at this hotel." You know, I'm Mr. Big Content Creator.
Yep.
And we're
you didn't do it just for the money. You didn't do it just for It's that's good. That's a good way to be.
I watched it back, and I was like, you can see the chemistry, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have other dwarf models reach out to you, or just in general, like the community? I don't even know, the community or the yes. Okay.
Yeah. That was what I always wanted, because I wanted to support and uplift any other dwarves that were going through what I did, and wanted to have like a respite from real life, and was like, listen, like, I can be who I want to be on the internet, you know? And I actually do, funny enough. I have the international ones in my DMs that always, the language barrier always comes into an effect, but I do my best to communicate with them. And they're like, "Oh, if you're ever out here, like, let's film." And I'm like, listen, if I ever get out there, I would love to. But then I have the one stateside that, really, really sweet. Like, there's one in Alabama, President Dwarf. He's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
He's truly the one that I would definitely collab with, because he's always had such sweet things. And we talked on like a deep level of our struggles growing up. Yeah, I can safely say, like, he's probably like the one I always go to in our little like small dwarf community. It's funny because some of them can be jealous, because I've had a situation. I'm not going to name no names, but I've had a situation.
I love that. You know, you're from Jersey and you don't snitch.
Yeah. I'm not going to name no names, but he would probably know who I'm talking about. So, like, I thought we had a great friendship, and we talked on Instagram, and we were going to hang out. Not even for content purposes. Who knows? Eventually, maybe content purposes. But it was just it was a friendship, because I wanted more dwarf friends. He's in the entertainment sector as well.
Okay.
And I was just constant, like, shady comments. And I was like, dude, like, I want to get to know you. And I saw him in person at a bar in the city. And I was with my best friend, funny enough, and ice. And I didn't want to, I was getting the dirty looks. And I was just like, what's going on here? I was like, I was going to go up and introduce myself, because I was so happy for us to. And I was like, are we like being like, what, I don't even know what the word would be, to our own kind, to our own community? I was like, there's no competition here. And that's why I love that I have one or two that I can like talk about my struggles with, you know, because I was like, it's us.
Yeah.
We can't be like hating against our own minorities. Like, we're a minority too. You know what I'm saying?
You just went to Provincetown,
Yes,
right? Which I love, right?
First town.
And you met Joel someone
I
there.
met Joel someone there.
You went there for Boomer Bank's party?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So my best friend goes each and every year. He's a bear, so he's like, "You're coming to Bear Week." He goes, "Everyone's gonna know who you are."
Yeah,
And
they're
I'm
gonna
like,
eat you up.
I'm like, no one's gonna know. And I'm like playing it humble. And so I go, and sure enough, like I go on Grindr, and like people are like, "Oh my God, you're here!" Da 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 da. And then I'm on the balcony because I'm staying at the boat slip, and like the tea dancers are happening, and people are pointing, and it was so crazy. I didn't think that I became that much of a quote unquote celebrity, if you will. My best friend at this point, he's like used to it. He's like, we're in Target, and somebody will be like, I love your work. And he's like, okay, yeah, we know. Thank you. And, you know, and I'm like still sweet and humble about it, because it impresses me every time.
It's always nice.
Always great.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 days in, I think, or 3 days in, I was walking down Commercial, and I'm like loving it. I haven't had a second to breathe, because it's party, tea dance, party, another party, you know? And then Boomer was in town for his party at Crown and Anchor. And so I'm walking down the street, and I think I was right outside of FK, and Joel someone is right there, and he's like, "Hey, I know you." And I'm like, "I know you too." And he was staying with his friends at an Airbnb, and he was in town to work, because he's a total workhorse. I love his work ethic. And he was staying with his ex, and then he was staying with his friends. And then I was like, awesome. And then we kind of like hugged, and we like talked it out. And I was like, this is so mind blowing right now. I was like, we spoke for years. I was like, I spoke to his boyfriend at the time, Marco Napoli, who is so sweet. And he's like a big brother to me now. I absolutely love him. He would reach out to me on Instagram and he'd be like, do you want to come to the city and like hang out with us? And I think at the time I was just going through such a crazy time that I never took them up. And I would say this to Joel all the time. I was like, Marco was actually the first one to reach out to me. And he was like, yeah, because he knew I had a crush on dwarves. He knows how much I had a crush on like dwarves. So I was like, it was funny because then Marco reached out to me. I was going through like my headspace at the time. I think that was the time when I just started on Twitter. I was taking off. So I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to start filming. I didn't know what the next move logically was. So I would always say, I was like, yeah, we can meet up. And then eventually they left New York. But in that meantime, I was a huge fan of just seeing like Joel and how like the studio films he was in. He had the huge thing on the live. He would go live with Joel Someone. Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm Joel Someone with somebody in the shower. Yeah, and I loved that. Yeah. I was like, I want to be in the shower with you. Because then at the time, I would just love the interview, like, and then like the camaraderie he would have with the people that he'd have over. And I'd watch, and then we would just flirt and we would talk, and I think it was so cute. And I always had like a little crush on him because he's gorgeous.
It doesn't get more genuine than him. Out of the industry, there's a lot of people that you do meet, and then some really stick out. He's just as genuine as it comes.
Yes. So he moved to LA, and then I missed my opportunity. I was like, damn, I had him there all along and I never took him up on it.
Yeah, but it happens when it happens.
That's what I said. Right? I said, this happens for a reason. So then we hung out. He was hanging out with his friends. And then before you know it, like he was always in my hotel room. He was like, all right, I'm going to come over. I'm coming. I was like, don't leave your friends. I was like, stop it, Joel. And then he was at Tea Dance and I was on my balcony and he saw me and and at that point I was like crushing. I was like, this boy. And so then we started making, right as Tea Dance was going on, it was so hilarious because good thing you couldn't see it. We were on the second floor.
I know exactly where you were. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I was like, oh, there.
And so we're like filming content. Like he's throwing me on the bed. We're both butt ass naked. My best friend is recording like with my iPhone, his iPhone, like so insane. We're going on the balcony like naked, like to see if anybody is like, what's going on in like room, 217, So basically we filmed and it caught on. People were like messaging us on Grindr. They were like, what's going on in your room? We see it from the balcony. We can't see what's going on, but we know something's going on.
That's the best, yeah.
So we filmed and the chemistry was just there with him. I felt so comfortable. He told my best friend, Rich, he was like, your best friend's going to bottom for you. And I was like, I guess I am. Yeah, I'm feeling this. And to have my best friend watch me bottom, because it was to me, it's such a vulnerable thing. And, and then I have my Joel in my other ear, and he's like, don't worry about your brand. He's like, it is so masculine. He's like, this is going to make people love you even more. And I said, you know what? You're the person I'm going to do this with, because I feel our connection already. And there's nobody else I'd rather do this for right now. Everyone else, I feel like it'd be cold, calculated, just for the money. You know what I'm saying? I said,
just for the hits, just for everything. Yeah.
I have a dwarf. I have the dwarf that everyone's talking about, And so basically with Joel, it was just so like fluid, and like we filmed. I loved it. We filmed so much content. And that took off. Once we posted it on our social media and our OnlyFans, like honestly, everyone was in love with us. Like people were taking pictures of us from our balcony. I was like, it's my little gay paparazzi. Like this was insane. I was like, people loved us.
Yeah.
And we would just like walk everywhere on commercial. It turned into such, I had to tell my best friend, I was like, this was the boys trip that turned into like my love affair. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
But he loved Joel, and honestly, like Joel stood 2 more days for me. Like it was honestly the best. It was the most magical time. It was P-Town magic.
Yeah.
It honestly was. It honestly was.
What do you do when you're not making content?
When I'm not making
What do you like to do?
When I'm not making content, I'm going out. I'm a very big extrovert. I do like to go out. Even in the time of monkeypox, I'm being safe and I'm being cautious with everything. But I do like to go out at least to the club still. If I'm not out with my best friend, we'll hit up the city, and then because it's so close, and then we'll go to Philly, New York, or we'll travel. And I love going out. I love connecting with people. I think I just love going to the spaces that like I know that I'm accepted in. So it's like, let's go to the club, and then let's go. This was before monkeypox. Let's go to the bathhouse in Philly. And it was just, I was all over, and that's what I love to do. And then I'm a big old nerd too. I do love my video games, and people who follow me, like from day one, they know about like my nerdiness. Like I would stream on Twitch, and then when I get horny, I'd be like, all right, guys, Twitch is over.
Moving this over.
So now I'm going to go to the late night stream, and you know what that is. So I'll see you there. And yeah, so that was fun because I would attract and even more of an audience, like the nerds and the guys who were into the gamers, if you will, and the gamers. And they were like, I attracted them, and they were like, that's so cool that like, you know, you're not just this like vapid like personality that doesn't have like actual, you know, a personality. I was like, yeah, dude, I love to game. Like I'm like your boy next door.
Yeah.
That's what people say is like, you have that boy next door attributes to you, that you're not like this unattainable. And they're like, that's what makes you hot. You could be right next door to me, and you could be on Grindr, and like, let's game, and then we could fuck.
Yeah.
You know? And
there's nothing more unattractive
yeah,
than this toxic personality.
exactly.
Like too much has gone to your head.
I have the braces that I was wearing, the glasses. That's what Joel says. He goes, you have that nailed down.
And people love you.
He goes, but we're giving you a rebrand. He gave me he's like, do contacts. I was like, all right, I'm going to do contacts. I was like, because I did contacts in high school because I didn't want to be Four Eyes. That was just adding to my bullying. So but then like contacts back then were awful.
Yeah.
So I'm doing them now because they stay. And I love them. I was like, all right, we'll do contacts for photo shoots. And I just didn't have the confidence at the time. I was like, maybe I was like, what's that movie where like she covered up her good looks with like the glasses. She was really gorgeous underneath all that. It's not coming to me. My gay movie.
Every 80s, 90s movie, say, I'm going to make her, you know, and
So,
then
like,
she takes everything off and it's under there.
So I feel like that was me for a while. And then I was using that as like, it was like my nerdy, you know, then now I had the braces again.
It's a comfort zone too.
It's my comfort zone. Yeah. And it really translated well to the internet. And so now like for the photo shoots and everything, I'm doing them with contacts in, and I'm like, wow, who's that guy? You know, and I'm like, I look really good, and I'm actually getting the confidence again to have all this without all this stuff. You know.
So you're also so you're going to California.
Yes,
and
first time in LA.
First time in LA. Oh, you're gonna have such a good time. And if Joel is taking you around, you're going to have such a good time.
Take me to Hollywood, babe.
Yeah.
He's like, it's all that's cracked up to me, but all right, I'll take you. I was like, no, I want to do like the typical touristy stuff, you know, like let's go Hollywood.
Do that for a couple of nights or a couple of days, and then don't go too crazy partying, but you're going to have a great time.
I got a go-go gig too.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I was like, you know what? I said, when I was a Tumblr kid, I wanted to do a go-go gig. And now thankfully it's so readily available to me. Like any path that I'm going down, I reached out. He had connects to reach out to, and they have this hot dog party in LA. It's like their tea dance, and I reached out to the person who it's his party and the person who manages the space, I believe, and I was like, can I go for you guys? And they were like, thank you for reaching out. Sure, you sure can. And I was like, wow, this is great. And so next Sunday, I'm going for a couple hours for tips. And I was like, because they booked their go-go boys in advance.
Yeah.
So they're like, listen, if we knew this ahead of time, you would have had center stage. But yeah, definitely. You're going to be in town? Sure, have a blast. And I'm really excited about that.
And you also have photo shoots coming up. You have
Yes, I'm reaching out to some photographers
Okay.
out in LA because I just did 3 shoots with some really, really talented photographers in New York. Kelly Greider, he's great. I always wanted to be. I would always look at his Instagram and the boys who shot with him, and Joel shot with him, and I was like, I always want to be a Kelly Greider boy. That's like a certain level of like, you know, you made it when you shot with him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And him, Stanley, who's great as well. He's been doing this since the 70s. He's
Wow,
really
yeah.
born. Stanley Steller. Yes,
Okay.
his last name was not coming to me. And he did the porn, all the magazines, and now he's like still taking great photos in his apartment. And I just did that. And then Ben Fredrickson, who does the Wedgie Project. I just actually
Really? Okay.
Yes, you got to check out his work
Okay.
on Instagram. And Instagram actually deleted all of them, or Kelly survived, but 2 of them, I was actually just talking about the censorship with Instagram. I got deleted myself. I was up to 10K. Joel got up to, I forgot how high he was up to.
Yeah.
And we had to
Twice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm playing it safe this time. I zoom in, or like I'll like blur out, and I still get things taken down, but hopefully they just don't yank me down.
Yeah. Don't feed the bears when it comes to Instagram.
Exactly.
You learned your
So
lesson.
I'm at like 3K and I'm just chilling. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, listen, whatever I can post here that I actually have clothes on, I'll post. But I'm so glad they gave me the opportunity because Joel shot with them. And they're very, very talented. And I was super happy because I want to expand my portfolio. And Kelly's making art that's going to be archives of the most gorgeous men of our time. And I'm so blessed that I'm going to be a part of that. You know? I'm so blessed.
That's very important, especially for gay people and gay erotica. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, exactly.
What are your plans for studio work?
For studio work, I'm overwhelmed. Even where I am today, I'm so overwhelmed because like I have so many avenues available to me, and I'm blessed, honestly, because I even in my thank you letter on Instagram, I put from P-Town, I put like a little P-Town love letter. I was like, to get people from when I was there all across the world, like saying that they love me and they love my content. I was just like, I was overwhelmed with tears because I was like this little boy who grew up in New York, and I was like hating myself, hating my body, getting tortured. And then I was like, now there's every avenue for like myself to like grow in this industry, you know? And with studio work, I said, you know, I want to do it for fun. And then I have like studios vying for me because, you know, and I'm just like, this is so crazy to me. And then now it's great that I'm dating somebody who's so successful in the industry to be like my guide, if you will. And he's like, do this, don't do that. And it's like, he's like my inside scoop. And
yeah, he's worked with a good amount of them.
He's worked with so many studios. And I'm in negotiations with a couple of them, and I can't say any more than that, but it's going to be great to dip my toes in and do it for fun. Because I think my OnlyFans is taking off and doing so well that this is just going to be another like element of like, oh, let's do this for fun and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
If you have,
they need me. I don't need them.
Yes.
that's the jersey coming out again.
No, but
I'm
it's
like,
absolutely true, and it's their fault.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even now to this day, I work for a studio, and I still tell them you are massively exploiting your talent.
Yeah. I heard about the money situation.
Yeah. So let me stop there.
We're spilling too much tea.
But the if you have the privilege of going into it, not needing to worry about getting paid by a studio, you pick the ones that are good and they're going to treat you good.
No, exactly.
And that you're going to have a really good experience with.
No, yeah, definitely. Because I'm like, I'm not on your
Make some art.
You're on my
you know?
watch. Yeah. No, make some art. There's some that I really do admire. I love the way they shoot certain stuff. And this is coming from somebody who's a big fan of amateur. I just love amateur over studio. But there's some studios that really the cinematography work and they capture the intimacy of the two models. And that really gets me going. Like, you know, that's something that I like to see. I don't like to see when you can tell like they're not into it. You know,
when it's paid.
Chemistry is not there.
When they're there for the money.
They're like, let's get this scene over with. You can tell, you know?
They already made plans for after the shoot.
Yep. So
I like the models that stick around for 2 hours after because they're like, okay, they really want to fuck.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So I'm excited because if I get to work with those that I'm actually a fan of, that'd be so great. And we'll see what happens because I know that this is not, they won't, I have so much control of what I do and my image that going into an environment where they control everything about your image is going to be really interesting. And that's all I can say is I think it's going to be interesting in a way to see how I'm going to react, and it's going to be fun, but I don't know if I'm going to really want to be under their...
And how they're going to market you too. Exactly. That's one thing that I'm always curious about.
Yes.
Because,
I was already with agents that are already I'm in talks with, they're like, listen, if you don't like how they're marketing you or you don't like how this storyline is centered somehow with a dwarf or, you know, they're focusing on the midget aspect, then you definitely just like let me know. And I do like that agents are already looking out for me in that aspect. And, you know, we can see what happens. But I think if they do exploit me or make it like a corny little storyline about it, all about me being the midget dwarf, I think that'll be like,
I don't think they can get away with it nowadays, but it you know, the industry does have a history of it.
Yeah. Even though I do fetishize myself, I will say that I there's some times where like
that's fascinating. Go on.
Yeah, I think I will. I think at some points I'll like in my verbiage I'll post because I know it gets people. You know, that's just marketing 101.
Oh, I thought you meant. Do you? What do you jerk off to?
What do I jerk off to? I like a lot of like amateur stuff, like where like it's you see that it just happened. Like I subscribe to a couple OnlyFans because I actually like some people's work. Like I like how they do it. I jerk off to mostly like anonymous stuff.
Okay.
And like I kind of like get off on that stuff. Yeah,
okay.
I think it's hot. I think just like the spontaneity of it is so hot. Like you have two horny men that just want to like get off. And that's what I think what fascinated me about bookstores. And that like, it was so amazing to go to my first bookstore because I was like, these guys are like everyone just wants to get off here. And it's like, you will see the guys that are trying to be picky. And then you'll see the guys that are just like, listen, I don't want to suck.
Anything that breathes.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was fascinating to be in that space, especially when I did all my stuff. Like I was handpicking who I wanted to collab with. And then I'm jerking off for just an audience of thousands, you know? And then I'm in there. And then you have guys that are like, holy shit, it's Dwarf. Is he hung? Or does he have one that's like the size of a walnut? Because they live under a rock. You know, if they're in a video store, they're not going to know who I am, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then they'll be like, they go into booth with me or they like follow me into a booth and they're like, holy shit. And it's so, and then that's what an agent that I'm talking to, he goes, he goes, you're known already on the internet, but this is going to expand your brand to the people who live under a rock. Those ones in the video stores, those ones who type in gay porn on Google, let me click this link. It's probably a virus, but they don't know, you know, that's the ones they're going to see King Dwarf because they're not going to join a Twitter. They're not going to join an OnlyFans or just for fans, you know? That is like overwhelming to them. Or, you know, credit card, there's a paper trail with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're the ones that you're going to get when you do studio. That's going to be the audience that you're going to get. You're going to get them too. So I find that very fascinating from a business standpoint.
Are you keeping King Dwarf?
I'm keeping King Dwarf.
Okay.
Yes, I think.
And you can.
Yes.
And you can.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I've seen so many models who either come from Twitter or OnlyFans.
They switch it up, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you lose yourself.
Yeah.
I think you lose yourself.
Yeah, especially if you've built it for over a period of time.
When did I come up with King Dwarf? King Dwarf was definitely, I think, Tumblr days.
Okay.
I think that was the name of my blog. Yeah, it was the name of my blog. It was King Dwarf, and it transferred right over to Twitter. And I even hear people talking about it at T-Dance in P-Town. They were like, that's King Dwarf. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's
now it's in the real world, you know?
yeah. You can't deny that.
No. King Dwarf's eating out of Cordoba in like New Jersey. That was funny. I could tell you so many stories. I'm on Grindr horny, like eating Cordoba, and like there's a guy that's like, I was just in the Cordoba, and I couldn't believe like King Dwarf was eating out of Cordoba right by my house. It was
amazing.
hysterical.
And those are the reasons why you stay humble too. Like
I
you
do. I always say with fans, you can come up to me. They did it, and I love meeting new fans. I still fangirl meeting people that I've looked up to in the industry, like Joel, and I was like, you were my role model, and to now meet you, number one, and then to like date you, I was like, this is so surreal. I was like, I'm living like my 50-year-old like ultimate fantasy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then to meet Boomer and Atlas Wolf, who is Austin Wolf's boyfriend.
Okay.
And like to meet them and just to have great rapport with these other people in the industry, like I'm building my family, you know. And then Marco Napoli and Jonah Wheeler, who is like the sweet. I just met him in New York this past week, and he is the absolute sweetest. Like they're like my big brothers. I'm literally gonna have like the best industry family.
Cool. That's
and
very
I think
nice.
that's so important.
It's very healthy too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because at least I have them to turn to. Because like when you touched upon, it can get very lonely at the top, because you don't know if people want to use. My guard is up at all times. People want to just use me for that quick buck. People want to use me because of how well known I am, and I'm a dwarf. So it's like when I meet somebody or when I'm talking to somebody, I was like, I don't know what your true intentions are, you know? And like I've been used in the past, and I was like, that's not happening this time.
Yeah.
You know, and then to have a family that I actually can rely on and essentially make my own family. It's a very Pose moment for me. I like cried. I was like, this is the best. This is what I needed, because I was lonely. I'm alone in Jersey. You know, I was like, I have my muggles, like my friends who do the 9 to 5, and I was like, I love them to death, but like ultimately having people in the industry and doing what we do, no one's going to get that unless you've gone through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're all in LA or they're in New York, and then I'm like in Jersey in the burbs now, and I'm like, okay, I need to move.
It feels like adulting sometimes when you're in Jersey, because there are times where I want to go into the city and just I used to do it all the time up until like 35, 36, all the time, like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But then other stuff happens.
Exactly.
Like it takes a lot of work to create content. This is not the same amount of content creation that you guys do, but to sit down and do a podcast and then to work for Tim and just anything else on the side takes up a lot of time. Do you find yourself getting fatigued?
Yes.
At any point? Okay.
Yes. It helps now that Joel and I are very like-minded. Like all the content that we made was so like, it was so organic. It was like, we're waking up in bed. We're horny. Pop up that camera with my little tripod. Let's just let it go. And let's just do what we normally do, you know? And there's no like, oh my God, okay, we have to get that angle. We got to, it's so organic. And the end product is amazing. Amazing. And so, but like in the past, when I do it with when I've done it with consenting individuals, I think just the editing, and then some would want show face, and then some would be like, okay, can you blur my face out? And I'm like, okay, well, I have to like clip it all out or use my software to blur it out. It did get very like, I did get a fatigue from it, and I think I stopped for a little bit. And that's when I always have my like, what's next, my next move. And now with this, ever since P-Town, it's been go, 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 go. Because now it's like, go to New York, film content, and then Joel came and stayed out here with me. And then I was like, we can do our content together because that's been really taking off. And I love it. That's the best content to do because number one, it's taking off and I'm doing it with somebody that I love, you know? So, and then, but now I think I'm going to, in LA, I'm going to be definitely topping again because I'm already getting requests. They're like, we want to see King Dwarf top again. I was like, yeah, Joel made me into a big old bottom. Yeah, that was funny. That's actually funny. They're like, oh, she's a big old bottom now, bro. And I'm like, no, I was like, I think the thing with me bottoming now is that it was my brand so long to be like the macho dwarf top. And now that I have somebody who I trust, I was like, bottoming's great. Like it feels so masculine. And I feel like, it feels great to give the reins to somebody. And you don't have to do it for once, you know?
Take the wheel.
Exactly. And then I think I always say like, especially with Joel, he's versed. So, and I always say like to make, and people fight me on this. This is controversial. I said, to be a good top, you've had to be a great bottom.
Yep.
And people are like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, it absolutely is.
Those are the ones that would, they're uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah. They're like, yeah, you like it, baby? And you're just like, oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
They're not worried about your pleasure.
Absolutely
They're worried
right.
about their pleasure, you know? So, but I think with all the topping that I did, and I know what feels good, and especially even with Joel, like I enjoy bottoming 100% now, and I'm going to go back to topping. Like I think in LA, there's going to be some topping scenes I'm going to do and go back to my roots, and yeah. But I enjoyed to give him the wheels, the keys to the wheel now.
Yeah. And you're in good hands.
I am. Thank you. Yes.
And I have not. I know we've talked about Joel plenty,
Yes.
but we have not addressed. We have not addressed the elephant in the room. I had no idea. You guys are dating.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
When did this happen?
He goes around and he tells everybody, he goes, we're courting each other. And we courted each other in P-Town. And then I was like, listen, I'm going to be bi-coastal because you're going to be... I said, you're going to go back to LA. I said, and I'm going to be in Jersey. And he's like, we can totally make this work. And I was like, yeah, we got this. And so, yeah, but he is so, so sweet. And I fell for him so hard in P-Town because he's just the absolute sweetest human being. And he really put the fire under my ass he goes, honestly, nobody's doing what you're doing. And I there's been times where I just sat here and thanked him. And I was like, thank you for really, because I think I go through these little crises, and like, I'm just like, what am I doing? My DMs are overflowing. I can film with anybody I want. There's the grinder route. There's the studio route. And it's just like, what do I do? And I really didn't have anybody that I can like trust, you know, yet. And then so now I have him, and then like the family that I can turn to and be like, well, what do you think of this? What do you think about me performing with this person or this studio, or, you know, and I get actual feedback that I can trust. And, you know, I'm so, so thankful that he came into my life and I met him in P-Town, because I was like, now I feel like we're going to conquer this like together. And he has so many ideas and so many great ideas. And like, I have so many ideas. And again, from what I told you earlier, like me coming and conquering the digital space and him coming from the studio world, I think it's such a great fusion. And like, we're taking over the world, baby. Like,
awesome.
Like, I'm very low key about it, but I think anyone who's followed my Instagram and Twitter lately, you just see us and like people are connecting the dots, and I'm like, yeah,
that could be.
Usually I'm not that open with who I'm dating. Like, I keep that very private because people just have ulterior motives and, you know, agendas. And I like usually keep my like the guy who I'm talking to or I'm dating out of spot. But I think I'm actually really happy, and like I'm really happy to show like Joel off, and like I'm like, yeah, he's mine. Like, you
good.
know?
Yeah.
So
I don't want to take up too much more of your time. This has been absolutely awesome.
This has actually been amazing. I can keep going.
I know.
Yeah.
When people who don't, I really don't know who wouldn't know you at this point, but if they don't know you, how do they find you?
if you don't know me and you're living under a rock, like, you can follow me at twitter.com/King Dwarf NYC. And then I have my OnlyFans, which is onlyfans.com/King Dwarf. And Instagram, which I'm behaving because God knows I don't want to get deleted again. That's Instagram.com/King Dwarf official. And those are like the three main ones that I'm on. I'm trying to break into TikTok next. TikTok, I'm actually gonna do some really fun stuff with TikTok. That's my next foray. And that's gonna obviously be all like safe, fun stuff.
All safe. You'll get an account warning just to put up. When you put up King Dwarf, you'll get an account warning.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, we heard about you.
Yeah, we know who you are. You're in trouble.
I have some really fun ideas about just approaching there's so many ideas with myself with being a dwarf that me and Joel already spoke about, and we're gonna go balls to the wall on it in LA because I really think it's gonna blow up, and it's gonna be fun because that's gonna be yet another audience that's gonna be like, oh, he's great on TikTok, and then I'm gonna have they're gonna be like, oh, but he's a big old thought. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great to see how those worlds collide. Because a lot of TikTokers do it.
Oh yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, I have a little.
And some of them get away with it on TikTok. I don't know how they do it, but
no, they try to take advantage of the challenges, like showing off the little bulges, and I'm like, I see you. Yeah. So, but those are my three social media channels that you can reach out to me. If you see me in person, always feel free to say hello. I'm super. I think me and Joel are people are coming up to us and we're like, we love it because I'm always humble because I know my beginnings, you know what I'm saying? And don't ever I'll get the messages in my DMs that'll be like, I saw you in such and such and you were with so and so and I was so afraid to come up to you. I love it. Please. I'm so approachable. I love the fan love.
Awesome. That's the best way to be.
It is truly.
I'm just going to do a really quick shout out to the podcast. Guys, this is Demystifying Gay Porn. We are on every podcast directory. We're on Instagram, YouTube. What else? TikTok. We are on TikTok. This is the last.
This is going to be all over.
Yeah.
This is going to be all over my social media.
Awesome. We're going to promote the crap out of this. Yeah. This is the last episode of season 3.
I was the season finale.
Yes, you were. And I'll be back in October. I need a break too.
But I would love to come on again.
Absolutely. And also, even if it's independently, I would love to do something with you and Joel or something. That would be awesome. Yeah.
We can so down for it.
Yeah, we can talk about. I enjoy working with Joel as well, and I'd love to see you in action as well.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I'm so down. Yes.
Yeah.
Come out to LA with me.
You know what? That would be amazing. But yeah, my guest this week, King Dwarf. Again, thank you so much for it.
Thank you for having me.
No
I had
problem.
the best time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Demystifying Gay Porn. Thank you very much, and have a good summer. Cheers.
I got this kinky shit. I'd like to try with you.